as we grapple with coming back to normal after a lockdown of nearly 40 days, I think some things will change. A lot of things will change, you know. I think I'm very happy to see Annapurna, because I would like to bring out that a lot of things will change from the point of view of the emotional aspect of our lives. You know, for 40 days, I'll just mute everyone. Huh. Okay, I think this is better. So for 40 days, we're going to be working from home if we are working. We are not in connection with our, you know, compatriots, our team members, other than online like this. And I think, you know, there is a difference between physical interaction and interaction in real life. And there is a lot of fear which is happening. So I'm going to first walk you through a series of slides which I want you to consider, and then we'll look at how can we use the type of data, certain types of data, to come to better solutions, you know. Because one thing is clear, that we are not going to have 100% of our workforce back. Okay. Now that will be out of many things. There could be many reasons for that. That could be because we have shortened you know, given a few people leave, or we have had to trim down our workforce, or it is going to be because the workforce is not ready to be back in our offices and our factories, you know. And I think somewhere, you know, in all this stuff that's happening, we are forgetting the employee's point of view. You know, what are they feeling, what are how are they reacting to this whole lockdown, what are the fears which are coming in. And you know, you might ask that we've never had something like this, so why am I so confident that we are going to face some you know, backlash, if I could so say, from the employees. And that is because if you see all crises that have come till now, you know, you know, be it the Twin Towers bombing in the US, be it wars that have been fought, or be it other type of economic crisis that have come. Not only are we impacted physically, economically, we are also impacted a lot emotionally. Okay. Our mental ability, mental fitness becomes something which has to be seen and understood. Okay. So I'm going to just take you through a few slides, and then I'll open it up for discussion for all of us to share our views. The thing is that in the next 3 months, the government has this particular stance in India, that there will be a graded action plan to be rolled out between 3 weeks and 3 months. That there will be health measures. Uh, we have seen that there will be quarantine and isolation. There will have to be plans to have dedicated hospitals. Okay. There will be putting money in the hands of daily wage laborers and farmers. And there is that you know, pension etc. should be released for people. So government is trying to do some populist measures to ensure that the population, the most vulnerable part of the population, is somehow managed. Okay, they manage the crisis financially in a certain way. Now, what are the other snippets of news that we can see? We can see that the government has also granted 12-hour work days in the Rajasthan factories, and Punjab government is deciding if they can do the same. And they have invoked the powers under Factories Act to extend this maximum hours from 8 to 12. Okay. Now, this is something which you know, is expected to be followed by the other states also, right? So what we are seeing here is the government measures first. The government is trying to ensure that we can get factories to work overtime, to make up perhaps in a certain way for the lost time. Okay. The center is working to provide insurance for truckers soon, to set up to because they want to assure the truckers that the extra risk they run, because supply chain has got severely disrupted. I think all of us know that in a certain measure the states have closed their borders to the other states. The famous example is of course Kerala and Karnataka. So we are seeing that the government is trying to work out schemes so that the people who make our supply chain run, the truckers, are feeling confident enough to sort of come back to work and start on their work. Okay. As so grocery stores have always stood out, hospitals have stood out as zones where people have opened up. At least in Bangalore, the feature has been between 5 and between 10 in the morning to 5 p.m. Etc. And we are getting recourse to local um, you know vegetables and kirana stores, etc. But 41 grocery workers have died out of the coronavirus, and thousands have tested positive in the recent weeks. So suddenly they are also showing increasing fear of coming to work. So workers are feeling scared now. Is it worth going to work? Bank employees, so bank have been asked to keep their services on. The Reserve Bank of India has done a lot of policies to ensure that there is liquidity in the market. Loans should not stop, but what is happening is bank employees are fearing being infected. If you walk into any State Bank of India branch, I had the opportunity to, because we had a home loan which needed certain adjustments, and I can tell you that it's not they are all going around with gloves and their masks within also, and they are really scared about having people come into the branch. Nearly half of the workers are now afraid to go to work. Now, these are statistics which are, so till now I had only been talking about India, but now I'm also talking about US and the rest of the world, that people are afraid to go to work. Work refusals spike. So the companies are saying, come back, join in, but people are refusing to come back to work as the fear of COVID-19 exposure at work is rising. I'm sure you all saw the video of the Jubilant factory in Mysuru, where the raw materials which had come from China is seen to be the source for the infection to have passed on to the workers who worked on that particular set of raw material, loading it, unloading it, and all that. Right? Essentially, of course, you know that things have been divided into essential and non-essential items. And essential factory workers are afraid to go to work and they can't afford to stay at home. Workers say standing elbow to elbow in production lines and clocking in with fingerprint scanners could make them sick. So yes, I know the PDF is out that the government has said at any point you have to work with 50% of your workforce. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm bringing to your notice. Okay, Abdul, I'm sorry if you're having connectivity issues. Please join in whenever you can. Okay. So what we are saying is that workers are becoming all this. I'm sure you've seen it, that workers, even these daily wage workers who have gone back to their villages, the villagers aren't allowing them inside. They are requesting them to be quarantined outside the village just till for a few weeks to be confirmed that they are not infected. Even after the situation normalizes, the perception of risk associated with crowded areas could lead to a shift in preferences towards personal travel modes. So imagine a Bangalore which is so crowded being equivalent. I mean, what are we considering? We are going to have a nightmare when it comes to travel. People may avoid using public transport mode to avoid crowds. People may also avoid shared mobility modes like auto rickshaws, microtransit vans, e-rickshaws. The drivers employed in app-based taxi services are economically suffering in the short term. So this is all that's going to be happening. It is going to be happening because somewhere this is the new normal. We are learning that we have to avoid other human beings, at least until the vaccinations are out, right? So once the vaccinations are out, we are not going to worry. But till then, there is going to be this underlying fear that we have to wonder. Okay, if we consider this lockdown as a large travel demand experiment, organizations have much to gain from optimizing transportation of employees in the future in terms of the productivity and costs. So imagine if we are saying that if you have to come to work, you are scared to get into the common transport. What is the set of employees like? Do you think that the employees who can avoid coming to work would want to come there? Should you force them to come? Okay. Authorities may accept better results in future policies aimed at nudging short trips into pedestrianized modes. We are expecting people to start telling people, please walk, shift closer to office. You know, now we know that transportation sector employs millions. It is necessary to understand the pandemic's impact on consumer preferences and subsequent transportation demand for passengers and goods, right? So these are all snippets from newspapers and magazines. I'm just bringing it together to tell you that there is a another world out there, which is, I mean, somewhere when I see LinkedIn all the time, people are urging companies to don't let your employees go, be kind to your employees, and so on. But what I'm saying is, we are not say is we are we paying adequate attention to the fact that the employee needs and experience requests have changed? you know I don't know, maybe when we open this session to discussion, maybe you can give me your views. Companies pull out all stops from work from home. Companies across sectors are scrambling to follow work from home practices, as the government has strongly advised India Inc. to implement this and limit the spread of COVID-19 while trying to ensure their operations are disrupted to a minimum. Now, some of the sectors where the government has been very clear and given instructions that you must move online, one of them is education. You can see the PDF that has been circulated, and perhaps I will share it out. But we will see the PDF that's been created, and I can tell you that people are, have been told in certain industries that you have to move to work from home practices. This is not a win-win situation. Why we should not work from home after the COVID-19 lockdown? So there are another set of people who are saying this is not a win-win situation. Companies adopt work from home policies to contain the spread of coronavirus, but this lack of boundary between work and home can impact family dynamics. So now we are saying there's a social impact to all of this. Till now we've been saying there's a livelihood impact, don't let people go, do anything you can to retain them. Now what we are saying is, not only is there a livelihood impact, there is a flip to it. The expectation of the employees, the fears of the employees, the desires of the employees could have changed. Are we ready to meet those? Second, the social impact of some of our policies, like, especially in a city like Bombay, when there are so many people living in a one bedroom hall kitchen, what are we saying? Are we saying that we are okay with doing con calls all the time with kids and spouses running around in the background, etc.? Is this adversely impacting the children and the spouses and the other family members? Is this a sustainable option? Right? And then when you look at manufacturing sector, it anticipates severe workforce crunch, right? The exodus of workers from the industrial clusters. The concern is whether transportation facilities are adequate for all the workers to travel back. Okay. And you might say, just replace them with locals. But I can tell you, at least in the South, your local workforce, one, is not ready to work on some of these jobs. Okay. Because you have a much more educated crowd here. Okay. So some of these jobs, the only other solution seems to be automation. Okay. Now flat, because many of the migrant workers cannot be replaced by locals because of the skills that these locals have developed in certain pockets. Flat or negative growth for IT sector in 2020 due to COVID-19. This is what the Infosys CFO is saying. Okay. So if I could just summarize this takeaway, I would say that we are looking at an impact which is, which perhaps have we thought of it adequately. And with this, I will unmute all of you with the hope that I can hear your views on it. So I look forward to hearing your views on this. What I'll again summarize what I have said. I have said that till now everyone has been talking about saving livelihood. Okay, now the dimensions of saving livelihood have undergone some change. Have we adequately thought about it? So one of the changes which I foresee is the fact that the government itself is not going to open up transportation, etc., and people are going to be scared about getting into crowded transportations. The second is that you may not have adequate skill in your local skill population, your talent pool, and you need migrant workers, and they are now not available offhand. The third is that certain groups which have come out and they have really helped till now, which is like your grocery store store workers, your hospital staff, etc. These have all contracted a high level of this virus until till we have a vaccine or some very confirmed way to save people. There's going to be a modicum of fear out there, right? Emotionally, they are not going to feel comfortable being around too many people. So that means essential workers are getting scared, and we are seeing that even a technology industry where people were earlier saying that they are going to local technology will needs will drive the industry. They are also the Infosys CFO, etc., have said no, it's not like that. We are going to expect things to be flat. So all this being there, what is your view? What do you see that what is it that companies are missing, or what do they need? So do you believe, one, that all your workforce is going to come back smartly marching on the day, on 4th of May?
Okay, Shubha, I think there is a, are you able to hear me, Annapurna here?
Yes, Annapurna, I can hear you.
Well, you have very nicely put out what is not going to be the normal after COVID-19 lockdown once it declares, that yes, it might, I don't know whether it will be, this closure will continue or it will open in what terms, how is it, we are yet to know. Lot of uncertainty is still there around us.
Yes.
But having said that, maybe by May 3rd, whatever is the period of certainty we have that there is a lockdown. So what next after that? Many studies or papers are coming out. Many HR people are giving things. Leaders are telling how are we preparing the organization or the employees for this. So
yes.
I've seen that a lot of lot of policies, lot of rules, regulations, guidelines are coming up.
Yes.
But along with this, you have very well pointed out, one is definitely with all this working from home or staying at home has created a lot of stress on the individuals, because this is not a normal way for us to work across the country. So a lot of adjustments had to be done. I mean, away from people, away from your own office colleagues. You're not, and maybe some houses we don't have a workspace to be created. So now sometimes people are coming back and telling, I don't have a proper laptop, I don't have a proper net connectivity, because all of a sudden this has happened. No one was ready.
There are multiple people working from home. So,
Yes.
I can tell you, Annapurna, my kids have Zoom meetings for their classes. My spouse has got his own Zoom meeting going on, and I have my own.
Correct. So the bandwidth issues will be there. Yes. Then disturbance, you can't tell a kid not to cry. Right. There will be in the background the kid crying. You cannot make the kid not to cry. You cannot stop a dog barking. So these are going to happen for us. So now with all this, what personally from my angle, what I have seen is what I am getting to see is there is a lot of emotional stress. there is a lot of anxiety. People are feeling a lot of different fears. They feel that how can I cope up with all this?
Yes.
What steps I have to take for this and things like that. And slowly, some are getting withdrawn. Some are feeling quite lonely. Some feel the fear of loss of job. Some feel the fear of going back to job. Will I be able to go? How will I able to go, if because I used to go travel by company buses, or I used to travel by public transports? Will it be safe, or will I be putting myself and my family into risk?
Yes.
Should I consider leaving the job, or should I change my job, or should I do something? So many things, so much of uncertainty is there now here.
Yes. Yes.
So definitely, I think these are the testing times, and but one thing is certain is more and more online or digital interfaces will start coming up.
Yes. Yes. I
Let
agree.
me pause here. Maybe we can hear from the rest of them and figure out what is it. Otherwise, definitely, yes, we can still continue. Let us
Okay.
hear from the others also.
Yeah, guys. Anything else, Ruben? Your views. After this, I'll take you through our data set and how we suggest that perhaps this could be a method to help out in realignments of roles. But till then, let me ask if anyone else.
Yeah, if I could add a couple of points. This is Muhammad Azmat here.
Yeah, hi, Mohammed. Yes, please.
See, we all are rightly talking about the subject of what is going to be the next. There are so many uncertain things which are going to come up, like employee movements from one location to another location. There's another challenge like appraisals. Are we, really thinking of something which is not possible? There is a chances that there may be a cut down in the salary. So that is something which is another challenge which is going to come up. And in this current situation, for marking all the employees in the ESSN portal, making it a mandate that every employee should, mark themselves to be the safe on early in the morning, so that the employer is also, aware that they are marking themselves safe and they are working on multiple projects. And if they are working on the multiple projects, then the billing issues, the time management, these are the kind of challenges which are which are coming up right now. But there's one interesting news which I read. I would like to bring that thing to your notice. Law firms have already declared a few of the law employees on an appraisal soon after the lockdown. They are assuming that the corporate would come up with a lot of challenges in terms of their liquidity, in terms of their cash flow, in terms of the clients which they're going to hold the payments. So the
Right.
law firms, they have already announced an appraisal for their own employees to come back to the job soon after this lockdown, because the corporate world is going to be in a big haywire and they're going to be having a lot of opportunities. So we need to be prepared if in case if this has really been announced, and if they are prepared for this, that means there are a lot of challenges which are coming ahead for us, especially for the new
Absolutely.
joinees. Especially for the new joinees, it's like a battle to win situation right now. If they have been appointed or if they've been reappointed, or most of the new joinees have already revoked their offers and they said that for other notice you got to stay back home. So these are certain points which I would like to bring into your notice.
Absolutely, Mohammed. I absolutely agree. And, I think it has become more critical because just a couple of days back, the government has clarified that the request that the employee should be paid for this lockdown period is a request, and it is not, it cannot be mandated by law. Right. So it's a request at best. It cannot be seen as a criminal offense if the employer does not do so. So this has been a big thing, and I think what you are saying is right. I fear that most of these cases would actually be between landlords and tenants and so on and so forth, because somewhere everyone is saying 3 months hiatus in rents and stuff. I don't know. Maybe that's where a lot of stuff will happen. In the large payment sector. So
True,
anyone
true.
else? Ruben, would you want to add something? Okay. Anyone else who might want to add, or should we look at the data set?
It's Madhushree. I would like to add one more point.
Yes, Madhushi.
Uh, I'm actually working in an educational industry where the online thing is definitely working very well.
Yes.
But due to this coronavirus, the company is not going with the profit what they expected. So they
Yes.
already cut down the salary for all the employees.
Yes.
But what employees are going through with all the other crises, they are feeling why they need to show 100% effort when
And
their
productive.
salary is
Mhm.
credited 100%.
Yes. Yes.
How to keep them like motivated, like yes, at the future once the organization is up to the mark, they can repay them. Until that, they need to support for
Uh,
each other, the team.
Yeah. So what Madhushri is bringing forward is an attitude issue, a fact that people believe that my remuneration has to be linked to my efforts. And if the remuneration has gone down, my effort should therefore go down. Uh, now, this is a very valid thing. Anyone wants to answer it?
Shubha,
Yes.
what we have seen a couple of practices where HR people or things have happened is while this is a testing time, so we might not be profitable, we might have got our projects delayed, things like that and all. They have worked around the compensation structure. So what they're trying to do, because it is very directly related to the motivation of the employees. If you
Yes.
tell that I'm going to cut away your salaries or sack you from jobs and all, this is not a right time to do all such things, because
Yes.
as it is we are having so much of other stress which is going on. So what some of the organizations have done is they have done a deferred pay. They told,
Yes.
okay, fine, right now I will be able to give you 50% or something. Some of them have done a monthly deferred pay, telling that, okay, I will pay, because billing cycles are also different. So certain times
Yes.
what we'll do, I'll collect and I'll pay. So I may
Yes.
not give you the full salary at the first of the month. I may pay it in 3 installments, or I will take a portion of your salary, because you need to take care of yourself, your loans and stuff like that and all. A
Yes.
portion of it, I will keep it as an annualized income.
Yes.
So that what would happen is employee doesn't feel that he is being losing all this money, and secondly, he's not in front of the employer to discuss any of his problems.
Yes.
B is all the more I'm sitting in home and I'm making all of this and I'm feeling both the type of stress to be in home and take care of the home, and as well as take care of even the office chores. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is becoming, so some of them have come with a very beautiful this one, and even some of them have come very this only that hey, look, if supposing you're working very fantastically and things like that, you are going to get some hike, some more incentives also. The other side of the spectrum also has been seen,
Yes.
wherein there were employees who still supported night and day with the whole thing of whatever go lives or some other critical functions or something else. It was the managers who have been given this key responsibility to identify who are the employees who are working like that, how are they doing. And some extreme employees are there who really have seen that this is like a privileged leave which is given with all full pay and things like that, and I'm going to enjoy sitting there. So
Yes.
all sort of guys are there now.
Yes.
So and we have been in the system wherein our managers used to see us, means not only see us, they used to really
Track us. Be able to
watches,
track physically.
trackers, watches, and do all of this. And today, when I'm not seeing my employee in front of me, it is always a trust building factor.
Yes. Yes.
The trust is not there, either for the employee or for the employer, whether this guy is getting logged in at this, logging in the right time, whether he's doing his work, whether he's simply telling that I was there for 8 hours, 10 hours. No, now it is not the time whether he was there 10 hours on the system or 20 hours. It is more to see that the deliverable has been done or not.
Yes.
And that only thing, so we need to see things little in a very different way, not the usual way, because those tools will not be helpful. So I think we have to devise new systems and new processes also around this. But all said and done, I think money is a big motivator. So cutting down on the money and without communications, without proper explanations, will demotivate the employee to a large extent.
Correct. So Madhushri, can I ask you, most of your employees, you would have a fair number of women, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, Annapurna, you're right. You know what happens? Imagine these ladies who, at least earlier, because their maids came and all that, used to have the freedom to go to an office space and work without interruption. Now they are trapped here without help. And a lot of, I mean, the way Indian culture is and many homes are, they would be doing a majority of the housework, plus they would be doing a fair amount. I mean, they are expected, if education is completely online, you are expected to do a lot of all your duties also, the normal run-of-the-mill duties that office was requesting you to do, take your classes and so on. So I think that's where the stress, Madhushri, has built up more. And I do believe that it sounds very sad, in a certain sense, but I do believe that, especially in Indian context, right, this has become one big challenge for the working ladies, having to manage the nearly 100% of the burden shift at home, as well as manage the office work.
If may I add one more point towards this one?
Yes, yes. Yes,
Madhushri, are you into core education sector, or you are only into the education service provider? I mean, are you into education service provider?
We are education service provider where if we do classroom training, there'll be like hundreds of crowd. In the online training, we have a limited approval where we can do with 30 people and all. So that actually cut down the revenue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was another very good friend of mine who's also into the education, service industry. They came up with certain online events for the kids. They came up to cover up the cost for the cut down lockdown. They plan to play some, online games for the kids, and especially for the HNIs. I'm sure you must have got some kind of a number where the HNIs wouldn't have been affected in this lockdown, and they're still ready to shell out some amount for their kids to keep them engaged. So that's the kind of suggestion which I have it. So if you can plan on certain events which will cover up your lockdown cost for the employees who are ideally sitting or who can make use of this. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is interesting, very nice. Now I'm going to just go to the data part. Like you know that Pexitics is People Excellence Indicator Analytics, and we are an HR and analytics firm based out of Bangalore. So the analytics angle will come into our webinars. Now people have come back and asked us that, so what should we do? Okay, we know that one, even if we segment and say that these are the people who are critical resources in my organization, it is not true that all the critical resources will be able to join back on the 4th of May for various reasons. Either for, as I said, transportation, or secondary reason that their children or their friends are unable to, yes, my screen is showing where I've shown you some data. So their friends, etc., are going to be able to, their family support system would be back in place where they can come back to work, or their innate fear itself, right? So there could be many reasons why where the people that if you were to start with the concept of first, let me find or decide who's the critical resource, and then go about trying to see if realize that he or she is unable to make it or is not comfortable making back. Maybe better than that is to identify a set of resources with certain characteristics on whom you can rely, that they are not going to feel stressed, because all what you don't want is that people should come back to work and then get then get stressed about it, and then there be incidents and all that at work, right? We don't want that. So we suggested a simple, see, all of us are in a place where we have to maximize the the benefit we get out of every spend, and therefore we have looked at an organization which undertook a 360-degree survey to identify certain characteristics. So they were not comfortable. We are into assessments, and one of the first suggestions we will always have is do a talent assessment. It's accurate, and it's non-perception bias driven. So you can be very sure that what are you getting. But here was a client who said, no, I am not so comfortable doing an assessment for my employees. What I want is a more qualitative solution. Okay. With this in mind, we suggested to them to do a 360-degree feedback and look at the 360-degree feedback to identify certain qualities in their teams. So they had different levels in the organizations and different sectors or departments. They called the department sectors. Okay. And what we did is we ran a 360-degree, like it has 6 evaluators plus 1 self-evaluation by the person on some of the values which they felt, their human resources felt was critical to understand who's that person who will be willing to come back, and support us, as well as he is seen or has the requisite competencies also. So what are the things that they wanted to check out? They wanted to check out the following: the partnership rank, the digital comfort of the person, the partnership comfort, like how good was he at creating partnerships, his performance drive, strategic thinking, openness to learning, and his enterprising quality. And finally, these were the factors on which we ran the 360 degrees. So what the organization gave us was that for all the middle and senior managers, they gave us the name of the person, 2 peers, one from the same department and one from another department to rate him, 2 subordinates, one from his same department, one from another department to rate him, and his reporting manager. Okay, so that became 5 of these people and 1 self-rating. Okay, this was like surveys go. This allows people to, in that star system, to rate for all these factors plus give their comments, okay, on the person. Now this was aggregated, and I am trying to show you what is the amount of data that was created from just this set of 6 questions that were asked along with the comments that came. So there, as I was mentioning to you, just like any other survey, hello, sorry for that.
We understand, ma'am. That's a classic example for hardworking women.
Oh yeah, people don't, there's no way that people are going to stay out of your room.
All of us are going through this. All of us are going through this. So I think even it doesn't matter whether the kid is, I have my kid is 25 years. Okay. So now you tell me that people will think that, okay, only the kid of 4 years or 5 years or 10 years might come into your room. No, yes. It's not so. So I think all of us understand this is what exactly, Shubha, the thing is happening across. We are not used to these all things.
Absolutely, now because especially
no more open secret.
Yeah,
it's not no more an open secret. I mean, no more a closed one. It's an open secret.
Yeah. I mean, the worst is in jobs like mine, where we are doing analytics and we're concentrating on getting an output or writing code. True. It's exceedingly difficult to do this constant multitask and take your mind off work and then bring it back to work.
Absolutely.
It's not so easy. Anyway, as I was mentioning to you, what the people saw on that side was just a survey where for everybody they were asked to rank to rate that person on a scale of 0 to 5 and give their comments. But what we took out of it is so many items, which helped the organization realize a few things. So it helped identify their critical resources in terms of people who were open to learning. So, one resource, if he was taught something, would be ready to take at least temporary charge of certain other jobs. We are understanding that this is not a career path creation time. Okay, but we needed people who are ready to multitask, enterprising quality, because these were people who were more outgoing. They were likely to find a solution to their travel problems, their feeling scared about life problems, and you should find working solutions to it. strategic thinking, performance drive, because finally you also needed to have the critical resources, right? The performing resources. You didn't want to catch a lot of people who weren't really delivering on what they said. And partnership, because you needed in this world where we are doing a lot of our people are work from home and remote, versus some people who would now start coming into office. You need to be able to build the rapport, the communication. And then we looked at digital comfort, because as I said again, because the people would be divided between coming to home and being in office. Okay. So with this information, ranks were created. Okay, and you can see that certain very simple statistical factors like percentile creation. So so what is your feedback on surveys like this? What is one of the things, like if there's a team which is very close knit, okay, what is likely to happen? What happens when teams are pretty close knit and people are all should we say they aren't okay with giving very honest feedback? Would you find a huge variation in the scores that they will give each other, or would you find that they'll end up giving very similar scores to each other?
Obviously there will be certain type of bias which will creep in.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
So you will end up with certain biases. So what we also found is this, that there were certain teams where uniformly people were rating each other much higher. Okay. And so we looked at that bias also, and we created what was the percentile scores. Okay. So percentile scores means that even if the minimum, it's the way you do a CGPA, the minimum score was 3 and the maximum was 5. So a 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, like even these small cuts within the star ratings that were given, right? In the star rating system, we had given them the option to choose. They didn't have to choose the whole numbers. They could choose decimals also in between. So, these small granularities which had crept in were brought forward. So you can see that though the scores itself were looking pretty, nobody is getting a 2 or a 3 or something, everyone's getting a 4.4, 4.5, 3.4, 4.2 and all that. But when we converted it into percentile systems, you can see that you are actually getting the people who are getting the lowest and the people who are getting the highest. It was coming out very clearly. So the highest here was 4.7, which was nearly 5. Right? So with this simple statistical technique, we were able to figure out the ones who had the best set of characteristics, and whom the company, because most organizations are being told work on 50% of your workforce, and we know that actually we'll end up working on slightly less than 50%. So they started using this to understand how they could prioritize. So they just did a simple pivot. If you were to just do a simple pivot on this calculation, okay, and you could look at each of the sectors, each of the departments, and then if you could look at the percentile scores. Sorry, this is a total, average values by for each of the departments. You could look at what were the values, the benchmark values that you had, and then against those benchmarks identify the people who are better or less than those benchmarks. If I remove the subtotal, you can see that at different levels the benchmarks also were different. So if you looked at digital comfort scores, here anyone on an average better than a 39.95 could be considered, while in L4 only people better than a 49 point something could be considered, right? So we had done this type of a mix and match to create a grid, okay, so that the organization could come up with a set of people who they could call in first into the office. Okay, because this is going to become one of the reasons. So, you know, if I could just sort it out even further, if I do, or if I come here and so if I could remove, this was my corporate affairs department. If I could see that these are the percentile scores, which you know, were for the level, for the sector, okay, for the evaluators, okay, etc. We could look at this, and then if we just did a, you know, mean calculation, mean value calculation, so is equal to average. Here I've not taken levels as separate, just as a demonstration purpose. I'm just telling you. So even something as simple as this can become a you know, important way to this is aggregate percentile, average self level aggregate comfort self. So I could just do it like across. So it allows me to create these averages, which allow me to take a call that people who have scores above this should be perhaps the people who I can call in first. Okay. Is this making sense? Being able to use the collective knowledge within the organization to understand which people can display those critical qualities required to decide who should be called in the first lot for work and who's likely to show up. Again, as I'm saying that today we should prepare for the fact that we'd actually see some refusals also, right? We can hope to see some refusals also. People will stand up and say that you know, I'm sorry, or can you extend, or I'm not feeling so good, can I not come into work? So, you know, we'd like to build into place, and we have to build a org structure, something which will keep our organization running in at least a 1 to 3 month period, right? So do you think this is the type of work which takes into account the collective you know, intellect of the organization to decide which are the people who are likely and prepared, you know, in this new scenario where new attributes have become more important, you know? These may not have been the core attributes for which you had hired them. You had hired them for their skills, etc., right? But today, because you have come to this situation where we have to work on a 50% workforce, do you think something like this, which is a 360-degree survey where the collective understanding of all the peers, subordinates, and the reporting manager can be brought together to decide which are that 50% of the people who should be requested to come back, you know, on the first lot, and they are likely to come back also? Do you think this will enable our organizations to make better people decisions till the remaining people get the comfort, and we can move to a maybe alternate days come to office type of scenario? What is your thought?
I think Shubha, perfect, because see, it is not something which you're doing it by some picking and choosing and something like that. It is
Yes.
like a data driven, and you have the complete information, and then you're making a wise decision over here.
And
It's
we are
not something
using the organization's
true.
wisdom. We are
Correct.
not saying it as HR or anyone, you know.
True.
We are saying you do the employee. It's a survey which can be taken on a phone, etc.
Correct.
also, right? It
Correct.
takes
Correct.
10, 15, 20 minutes for anyone to
Correct.
fill up for anyone else.
Now, this way, then what will also happen is the comfort would be very high, and
Yes.
people also will feel that, okay, I'm not pressurized, or
Yes.
I'm unnecessarily being harassed or something like that. These things will not come.
Yes.
They'll feel much more empowered that, yeah, I'm being taken care or something
Yes.
like that, and things like that. Yeah.
And we can make some surrogate decisions also. Now,
Absolutely.
the guys who are not so enterprising, you know, they are not
Correct.
so competitive, the ones who
Correct.
are not risk takers, who are not
Correct.
open to learning, right? You can
Yeah.
actually request them, do you want to take leave without pay, or can you take a cut of some sort or something?
Mm.
More likely that they will agree.
Mm.
You see, because temperamentally they think that is better than being out in the field. You know, they
True.
are the ones who would like to, they have the fear in them, they would like to protect themselves, right?
Yes.
So what is happening, you are actually able to make that recommendation. You know, when you're asking them, would you be open to taking a smaller salary, would you be, you might find that they would be. And this brings me to what Madhushi had said. If you learn something, you might find that a lot of these instructors, you know, who are really stressed today, and they know their stress is not going to go away. See, their children are not going back to school before June. The government has said so. You know, they know that their domestics are going to find it very difficult to come to work, you know, because government transport is not going to open up so soon. You know, so they will evaluate the situation, and they will be ready to take these things.
True.
Yeah. So this is you know, something which I had thought we could all share and see how we can keep the whole organization with us as we come to these conclusions. You know, and it serves them and all the employees as well. It serves the organization's desire, and it's not a random decision.
Yes.
Yeah. So with this, I'm open to questions, and if there's anyone who wants to contribute in some way, I'll be very happy. Anyone who has a thought process, anyone who would want to contribute? No? So, yeah, you know, I am sure on the group, the WhatsApp group, I will send out the link to the earlier sessions. I've been saying it for a couple of times, and I'm feeling a bit guilty that I have not been able to send it. But today, for sure, we'll load those you know, YouTube videos up, and you know, we will send the links out. This is my mobile number, my WhatsApp number, for anyone who might want to be included in the you know, in the mailing. And I look forward to your views, your interactions in our next webinar, which I'll announce soon.
Thank you,
Have a
Shubha.
nice
Thank
day.
you so.
Thank you, Annapurna. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, see you. Yeah.
Should we stay back?
Yes,
And
yes,
continue?
Annapurna. You and I
Okay.
and Ruben can stay back and we can continue.
Done.
Okay.